What's going on, Yu-Gi-Oh fans? It's your boy Cal Life here, bringing you another Yu-Gi-Oh Master Duel video. And today we are going to be playing a updated version of my Shaddoll Dogmatika deck combined with Despia. I also decided to go ahead and combine it with Invoke, and I'm gonna be honest, this deck is actually cooking really good, especially with the updated cards that they did add with the new card packs, right? But anyways, guys, if you're new to the channel, do not forget to go ahead and do one thing. I asked one thing, bro. Hit that sub button, man. I mean, come on. It looks so nice. Look at it. It looks clean. It's a nice little button. Just hit it. And when you do hit that, you can hit that like button. Thumbs up, you know, all the good things. But anyways, let's go ahead and get into the deck profile. So what did I ended up changing? I ended up adding in some new fusions, to be honest. And someone like me literally forgot to add in a DPE cards, but then I decided I don't really think this deck needs DPE, to be honest. If we end up going against a hero player, then we can just use Super Poly to take it and make DPE, but we've been cooking without it, so I decided to not use it. But anyways, we are playing two Despian Tragedies, two Shaddoll Hedgehogs, two Reeshaddoll Wendy's, two Squamatikas, one Dragon, three Aleister the Invokers, one Ariel, three Dogmatika Ecclesias, three Aluber the Jesters, one Shaddoll Beast, one Fleurdlis, one Maximus, two Despia Dramaturges, and then for for spell cards, we're going to be playing three Shaddoll Fusions, two Invocations, one Magical Meltdown, two Despia Theaters, two Super Polys, three Naelshaddoll Fusions, one Call by the Grave, three branded openings, and then one branded in red. And then finally for trash, we're playing two Infinite Impermanence and one Shaddoll Schism. Now for our extra deck, we are playing one Elder Intis, one Shaddoll Winda, two Shaddoll Windas, one Naelshaddoll Aqua Cologne, two Naelshaddoll Constructs, one Starving Venom, one Creatus, one DPE, two Masquerade Blazing Dragons, one Macabre, one Proskinian, and then one First Dark Lord, and finally Verte and the Conda. Now, if there is something I would make a change, I would probably drop Elder. If you don't have Elder, you really don't need it. The only reason I'm keeping it in here is because we can go ahead and activate Maximus ability. We can send two cards from our extra deck to the grave, so we could either send an Elder, or we could go ahead and send the Aqua Cologne, and by sending those two, we get a card that just destroys something on the field, and then we can go ahead and add a Shaddoll card from our deck or graveyard to our hand, right? So that's the only reason I'm keeping it in there. But everything else seems to be really good. If you don't have DPE, you really don't need them. You can take them out. As you can see, I don't have the fusion requirements to make them in this deck, just because I didn't want to put 48 cards in this deck. So keep in mind, you know, like we're trying to fit some room here. But if there was an extra card I would add, I think Ariel super good. I think two Ariels would probably be amazing, to be honest with you. But this deck is really cooking. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. All right, so for match one, we are going second, and honestly, I thought it was going to suck until I realized, guess what we're playing? We're playing heroes. So what does that mean? Two Super Polys in their hand, a branded opening. That means we're about to take some monsters. Anyways, they're gonna go ahead and start off with the Stratos into the Ferris, grab the increase, get rid of the Ferris, summon out the increase. Then Increase is able to summon out the Vion. Vion is going to toss Malicious to the graveyard. By tossing that to the graveyard, he gets rid of his Ferris. Then he can go ahead and get a Polymerization to his hand. He then can banish one of Malicious to go ahead and summon out the Malicious to then go into the extra hero Crusader. Now with that, this card is really good for heroes. So he's able to go ahead and summon off a card, which is a Malicious, which then allows him to get the Shadow Mist. He then now activates super poly, I mean just regular poly, to fusion to make a sunrise. I was actually shocked he didn't go into trying to make a dark law, but you know, it is what it is. From sunrise, he's gonna go ahead and grab himself a miracle fusion. With the miracle fusion, with the shadow mist, he's gonna grab himself a destiny hero plasma, and then from there he's going to go ahead and miracle fusion, so he gets rid of 2 cards from his graveyard to go ahead and create a absolute 0. Now from there he's going to be able to draw 2 cards. He activates emergency hero, which is going to give another Stratos. Then he summons out the Stratos, which is then going to add another hero, which is the gold. From there he decides to get rid of 3 cards to summon out destiny hero plasma. Now this board usually would be kind of annoying to deal with, because plasma is going to be able to negate all of our effects, and only our effects, not his, just ours. And then on his turn he'll be able to snatch a card. But guess what, we summoned out the tragedy, we didn't activate super poly, we tossed out the branded red, and we're taking not only his sunrise but his plasma with our tragedy to go ahead and make Despian Tragedy. Now because of that, tragedy is in our graveyard from a fusion or effect, so we can go ahead and grab ourselves a Jester. He then decides to activate the forbidden droplet, because I wanted to go ahead and banish out his sunrise out of his graveyard. Unfortunately, forbidden droplet stopped us, but it's okay because we still had the branded opening. With branded opening, I go ahead and toss out our Jester to summon out another Jester to then get a Theater. Theater is going to allow us to go ahead and make a fusion. We then combine the Wendy to go ahead and make a Naelshaddoll construct. Because of that, I'm able to now activate Wendy's effect and construct effect. When construct is summoned, I can basically send any Shaddoll card to the graveyard. So I send out the Schism. By sending out the Schism is going to be really clutch, because then with Wendy I can go ahead and activate the summon out a Hedgehog, which then is going to activate 3 different effects, because we were destroyed by absolute 0. When absolute 0 gets removed from the field, all monsters on the opponent's field is destroyed. So keep that in mind. This is why I summoned out the construct, because now, because Jester was destroyed, I can bring out Praskinian thanks to Theater. Then with the ability of construct, I can now bring out our Schism, and then I have a super poly in our hand, and then Hedgehog allows us to add a card to our hand, right? So now we have an Ariel in our hand and we have a Schism on the field. I decided to go ahead and activate Schism's ability, which is going to summon out the Winda. Winda is going to actually stop him from summoning more than what he can. So this is why I decided to use it now. He gets rid of 2 cards, gold and absolute 0, to go ahead and make the Malicious Bane. And now this card is usually annoying, but once again guys, remember we have a super poly, and I tried to activate Tragedy's ability to go ahead and add a card from our graveyard, but he stopped us. But because he stopped us, I'm now able to go ahead and use a Praskinian ability, get rid of Sunrise, get him out of the graveyard into the banish zone. Our tragedy does get stopped, unfortunate, but we still got the super poly like I said earlier. We toss out the Ariel, we fuse our Praskinian with the Malicious Bane to go ahead and make a Masquerade Blazing Dragon, and that's basically GG's. There's nothing he could have done. 2 super polys in our hand, super clutch. It just destroys heroes. So all right, on to the next one, guys. Oh my god, this deck is so good. All right, so on round 2, we do not start out with any super polys, but it's a-okay because we could still work with what we have. He does play 4 cards in a zombie world, so that already tells me what deck he's playing. He's playing Eldritch, right? Very super annoying deck. Unfortunately, we couldn't use Shaddoll Fusion to toss 2 cards from our graveyard, from our deck into the grave, because he has no extra deck monster, but it's okay. I am still able to go ahead and use Shaddoll Fusion because we have the necessary requirements in our hand. And then I decided to toss out our tragedy using the branded opening to summon out the Jester. Now by doing that, I can go ahead and get rid of Ecclesia and Shaddoll Beast. And with that, I'm going to be able to make a Naelshaddoll construct. Now construct is going to be huge for this duel because no matter what, anytime it attacks, it's just able to go ahead and destroy any special summon monster. And because of the fact that Eldritch is always just going to be a special summon, it really isn't going to change much. It's just going to destroy. I decided to toss out the an Ariel into our grave. and then get rid of and then add the infinite and the Despia to our hand and a Dramaturge, right? Now the reason I did this was because of the fact I wanted to go ahead and use Ariel's ability so we can go ahead and get rid of the Exeter. That way when it banishes it, you know, he can't add a Golden Land spell card from his deck. But we did get called by the grave, so he does stop that. I then use our Theater to fuse our Despia Dramaturge with our Shaddoll, with the Shaddoll Squamata. And then because of Squamatica's ability, I can actually go ahead and put a extra Shaddoll card in our graveyard, which is going to be Schism. And then Dramaturge allows us to just summon him. Now the reason I went ahead and put the Schism in the grave, just in case he has something to destroy Construct, we will be able to bring Construct back with the Schism. So I attacked his Eldritch, we immediately destroy it. Then I attack for 5500 with the Dramaturge and also the Creatus. Then I go ahead and play one card face down, which is going to be our Infinite Impermanence. He now decides to activate his trap, which allows him to get a Golden Land Forever card onto his field. Then he gets rid of the Rivalry of the Warlords. Not sure if I would have got rid of that to bring out Eldritch Golden Lord, but you know what, it is what it is. I decided to go ahead and use Creator's effect. We lower his attack to 0. Now, if you guys don't know anything about Eldritch, but when he like sends a spell or trap card from the hand, he can go ahead and summon himself, right? But also, what he can also do is gain 1000 attack and defense, and he cannot be destroyed by card effects. So I wouldn't have been able to destroy him by card effect, but because Creatus isn't a card effect destroying ability, it just lowers every non level 8 fusion and higher monster to 0 attack points. I'm able to lower it so he loses his buff, right? The 1000 buff. I activate Tragedy's ability to go ahead and get a branded opening to our hand. He then activates his Golden Lord card. I then decide to activate Creatus so I can go ahead and lower him back to 0. And the reason I did this is because we do have Theater on the field, so I intended to go ahead and basically fuse my two Despias together to make a Masquerade Blazing Dragon. And the reason I wanted Masquerade Blazing Dragon on the field is he only has 2500 life points left, and these cards are going to activate. So when you really think about it, that's 600, 1200, 1800 of card effects right here alone, right? So it's just simple math. I summon out the Dramaturge based off of his ability from the fusion. He activates one card. There goes 600 right there just for him activating card. I use Infinite Impermanence to go ahead and negate his Eldritch. That way I can go ahead and negate this from actually activating, right? But then he uses his Golden Land Forever, which I already knew he had, which is going to go ahead and negate this. But still, that's 1200 points he just took for no reason. He should have just let me do it, but he decided not to. I guess he wanted to try to save himself, but it's not going to work. Our Golden Land, the Golden Land does destroy our Infinite Impermanence. He does get the Guardian onto the field. I attack with our Dramaturge, but then he activates a spell card, which is going to bring back his Eldritch onto the field. Not sure why. This game is as good as over, guys. I then attack his with Construct. Then attack there. He's now left with 700 life points, right? That means he can only activate one more card, and they need multiple cards to activate. Anyways, he activates his spell card from the graveyard, which is going to allow him to do nothing. He goes down to 100 because he needed an extra 600 life points to go ahead and do something. He just couldn't, so it negates it. But anyways, yes, this deck is incredible. Let's go on to the next one. All right, so on this match we are going to be going second, which is unfortunate, but he actually ends his turn, which I was like, oh god, we're playing against Numerons. So I decided to summon out the Jester. By summoning out Jester, I grab myself a branded. I have 2 tragedies in the hand, so I could go ahead and get rid of 1 tragedy to bring out the Dramaturge. Tragedy's effect activates. I can now bring out a Jester again. I now activate Shaddoll Fusion. I decided to use Wendy along with Dramaturge, so I could go ahead and get off a window. By doing that, now I can go ahead and bring Dramaturge back to the field, and I'm gonna go ahead and put my Super Poly face down. So the plan was, if they were playing the Numerons, I had planned to go ahead and Super Poly it, but we got hit with a nasty attack, so we can't. Anyways, Lightning Storm destroys the Super Poly. He summons out the Fallen Albaz. I think he forgot that he can't special summon more than once because of Winda. So now I activate Invoker. From there I get the Invocation and he just quits. So another scoop. Let's go and try to get into another one. Alright, so we are going first, which is really good. I noticed that we have an Ecclesia in our hand, so I'm going to actually summon her. By summoning the Ecclesia, I do get hit with a Max C, so that does suck. I also find it funny that we summoned out the Ecclesia, right? And the Ecclesia person right here decides to try to stop whatever we wanted to do with Dogmatika. It's like, come on, dude. Come on. Anyways, we're gonna go ahead and play the Called by the Grave face down and a Super Poly just in case they get a certain card onto the field. So I noticed that they do summon out the Block Dragon along with the Rock Band Xeno Guitar, and we can't really do anything about that. And then they decided to go ahead and link into a Masquerena. By linking into Masquerena, they get both in the graveyard, and the Xeno Guitar activates its effect, and so does Block Dragon. I decided to go ahead and call by the grave the Block Dragon to negate its effect, which is then in fact going to negate the Xeno Guitar. Now, because they're both negated, he can't bring them out, leaving him with just a lonely Masquerena, which can't really do too much for him. So I do draw into an Naelshaddoll Fusion. It's not really going to help us, but I do have a regular Shaddoll Fusion, and since they have a monster from the extra deck, I can go ahead and toss 2 cards from my graveyard into the grave to go ahead and summon out a monster. We didn't get hit with a Max C, and so I chained that with the Dogmatika Fleur. And Fleur would have came out, and we would have been able to avoid one of the Max Cs, right? So they just decided to scoop. I don't know why. Maybe they didn't have any follow-up plays, but to be honest with you, I was gonna get Winda onto the field, and by getting Winda onto the field, I was just going to lock them down anyways. So it was a correct reason to scoop. But anyways, let's go ahead and get into the last match of the night. Okay. So once again, we're starting second. I wish we were starting first, because then I could immediately go ahead and summon off Winda, but because we are going second, I noticed we get hit with Kaiser, and then we also get hit with this really annoying card, Inspector Border. So we could tell he's playing True Dracos, right? Anyways, we draw into a Wendy, which is pretty good. We activate the Invocation. I made sure to activate Invocation here, that way I know I can't get hit with anything crazy. I summon out the Masquerade Blazing Dragon. I activate Shaddoll Beast. He then activates True Draco Apocalypse, which I'm not really sure why. It's not really gonna do anything for him, but anyways, by doing this we could get another Invocation. I go ahead and attack, and now because we are able to get past his monster, we can now get past Kaiser Coliseum. So I activate the Branded in red. I decide to use I decide to use our Dramaturge because it's the only Despia in the graveyard, and most of the time I'll end up using it anyways. But Branded in red is going to bring the Dramaturge back to the hand. From bringing it back to the hand, I'm going to be able to go ahead and fuse. So I decided to go ahead and use our Masquerade Blazing Dragon that's already on the field, since it was already weak and it couldn't attack anymore anyways. I'm then going to make a second Masquerade Blazing Dragon. He activates his effect, which is going to go ahead and destroy one of my cards. So Blazing Dragon does go to the grave, the Masquerade Dragon, and then from there I can go ahead and summon out the Dramaturge, attack directly, go into main phase 2. I decided to use now Invocation to go into Naelshaddoll Construct, and I now decide to go ahead and activate Wendy's ability and activate Construct's ability, which is Construct is going to allow me to go ahead and put a Schism into the graveyard. By putting the Schism into the graveyard, Wendy's ability now allows me to go ahead and put the Hedgehog onto the field, which when I flip it face up, I can go ahead and add a spell, a trap from the deck. And he's going to go activate his Disciples of True Draco. After that, he pops his True Draco Apocalypse, plays a card face down, and just scoops. So, like I said, guys, super consistent. I just want to say thank you all for tuning in. I hope that you guys enjoy the videos, and Cal Life.